Welcome, guys, to not Yakuza Friday, but sort of Yakuza Friday, as you can see from the sort of backdrop here. Ignore the backdrop behind me. I don't have a green screen or anything set up, so you guys can see Homer Simpson in my window unit air conditioner. Welcome. Not too sure what I'm going to do this evening because I'm not feeling the greatest. Better than I was like an hour ago, so I did well. Go ahead and do some stuff. Things are going to be a little bit different tonight. I figure since Friday has traditionally been Yakuza night, I'm going to go through the 3 new trailers that dropped this week for the new games. Just kind of break some stuff down with those. Probably won't go too much into detail because I know that Ian and I are planning a podcast hopefully this weekend. Talk about games and stuff, and I was going to try to cover a little bit of this, but I also know the Yakuza series tends to be very niche, so I wanted to cover some of my thoughts on here as well. Yeah, that's kind of my plan right now. After that, I do have Steam ready to go, but not a whole lot game-wise. I was leaning towards maybe playing a little bit of some Monkey Island. Probably the original one. I have all 4, plus the Telltale version. It's technically all 5. But for those who don't know, there's a new one coming out Monday? Yeah, it's on Monday for International Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, new Secret from Monkey Island game, or what I think it's called. Secret of Monkey Island. I don't know. But long story short, can I sound good? Yeah, okay. Sounds like I can hear. Yeah, it's the first. It's a little complicated, the whole Monkey Island series. It's one of the original point-and-click adventure games, which really got over back in the early 90s. The first 2 games came out way back, early 90s. I don't know the exact year, but I think it was like either 1990 or 91, and then I think the second one was probably 90. Those are just guesses. And then the original creator, Ron Gilbert, left LucasArts, and they decided to continue the series without him. So there was a 3rd game in the mid-90s, and then a 4th game in probably 98, around there, which most people believe the 4th game is the worst one in the series, and ironically, that's the first one I ever played, which got me hooked into the series. So I guess you could say it was nothing but up for me. But after that last game in 98, 99, whenever it was, the 5th game didn't come out until Telltale got the rights to do it in like their typical episodic format, like around 2010-ish, somewhere there. So about 10 years later. And since then, it's just been kind of dormant. But it's looking, or not looking like, it is going to have a new game come out on Monday. And it's Ron Gilbert creating it, so he's not considering 3, 4, or 5 relevant at all, or canon, I guess I should say. I think there's going to be some Easter eggs and references to those games, but as far as the actual story, it's all going to be linked to 1 and 2. And for those of you who don't know what the game itself is about, it's basically, like I said, a point-and-click adventure, so it's not a whole lot of like traditional gameplay, and it's really not a way to lose. It's more like puzzles and stuff. And it's about a guy named Guybrush Threepwood, one of my all-time favorite video game characters. Voice actor Dominic Armato is great. His character is a total goof, which I love. And basically, it's all about him trying to become a pirate. And he ends up meeting the love of his life, but also a demon pirate and also some crazy stuff. So it was actually a lot of what happened with the original Monkey Island games were inspiration for what would become the Pirates of the Caribbean series from Disney. Which, ironically, the Monkey Island games were inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney World. So they kind of went back and forth on that. But there are some things that were in Monkey Island first before those Pirates movies. So pretty cool stuff. But getting off track, that's just a question mark as far as what I may be doing after the stream or after this discussion. But let me go ahead and I'm going to pull up the trailers here. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go through these one at a time. Now, I've already seen these, obviously. They came out on Thursday. It was actually at like 6 a.m. Eastern time because this was over in Japan at the Tokyo Game Show. But I kind of wanted to rewatch them and then kind of give my first thoughts on them because they are 3 huge announcements. And yeah, I'm just going to take it from there. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is, here you go. I think that was pretty much it on that. It's probably just Sega stuff after this. Just double check. Like screen 2024. So yeah, first one wasn't the first game announced, but it was probably the biggest announcement. Was the first official confirmation from Sega of Like a Dragon 8. Well, it sounds like they're going with Like a Dragon as the new series title, because essentially in game the Yakuza doesn't really exist anymore. They're more underground than they have been in all the other games. Yeah, the first thing that obviously pops out is that hair on Kiryu right there. Yeah, so what's the big joke? He looks like a Devil May Cry character now. But yeah, Sega confirmed Kiryu and Ichiban are both going to be protagonists in the new game. It's not going out to 2024, so still another probably year and a half at least of development. Knowing RGG Studios, I guess probably the end of 2024, so closer to 2 years. But it's an exciting announcement because even though people have known this was in development and there's been stuff leaked about it, this was the first official teaser for it. So, and of course the shot of Kiryu with the gray hair is got people talking. So there is a reason for it, according to the director. At the RGG conference, he did say that would all be explained. Something else we'll be talking about shortly. But yeah, and you gotta. So Kiryu's probably. They try to keep these games in modern day. Yakuza 7 took place in 2018. So I would assume 8 probably takes place maybe in 2022, 2023. So that would make Kiryu probably late 50s, age-wise. And talk about going gray fast. Because he had that perfect anime hair, even in Yakuza 7. So, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about 8. Obviously, it's probably the one I'm most excited for because it's the next mainline series game, officially. But there's just not a whole lot of information out on it yet, so I can't really discuss too much. From a little bit of some teaser stuff they showed at the end of the conference, it does look like, uh, obviously from the trailer, Cam Roach is going to be involved. Looks like Sotenborg's going to come back. Maybe the Sumo Jicho will be in there since that's where the majority of 7 took place. And that's kind of Ichimon's new hometown, more or less. Uh, and they're saying this is going to be the biggest game in the series as far as exploration area and everything like that. So that's going to be impressive because they've had some very large games, even dating back to the first couple. So yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that because, like I said, there's not a whole lot else. So Yakuza 8 coming out 2024. Very excited. And I think I have it set up as the next trailer. We'll figure out what's going on with the game. So let's go and pop that one.
未だ煩悩にとらわれているな、上流。
恐れ入ります。
あなたは自ら名を捨て、存在を捨てた身。そんな男を今なお俗世間への未練に縛り付けるものは何だ。家族か。精進なさい。
いるんだろ。さっさと出てこ
い。よくわかりましたね。
左肩を打つときは仕事の合図だ。
ここでの生活も板についてきたようで何よりです。
座禅の邪魔が入らなきゃなおいいんだがな。
あなたは戦後建立されたこの大道寺100人目の僧。もう少し成熟してほしいものですが。
ここは大道寺一派の隠れ蓑に過ぎない。それにそうでもないお前からの説教はなおさら不要だ。
それは失礼。私はあなたの仕事の管理に徹するとしましょう。
それで今回の指令は
あなた好みの単純な力仕事です。ある人物を警護していただきます。詳細な資料はいつもの場所に。頼みましたよ。コードネーム上流。
Yeah, Yakuza, the man who erased his name. This was a game nobody knew about, and it's kind of a nice surprise. Um, just watching it, you probably are like, "Well, it's Kiryu. What's going on?" So the explanation that we got at the RGG conference was that this is going to be a sort of bridge game between Yakuza 6 and 8 that kind of shows how Kiryu got to what we talked about earlier with the gray hair and being in Yakuza 8. For those who have been following along the story, obviously we've played pretty much all the games on stream. Of course, well, we haven't technically played 6, but so spoiler alert, but at the end of 6, Kiryu more or less dies, basically goes into hiding, and everybody thinks he's dead except for a couple people who know he's probably alive but just can't confirm it. There's really, I believe Date's the only one as far as Yakuza mainline characters that knows he's still alive, but Kiryu basically decides that he can't keep going anymore because as long as he's around, he's just nothing but trouble for Haruka and the kids, and that's his number one worry. And he's also getting tired of literally coming back every Christmas and beating the ass off every Yakuza member. So, obviously you have that, and then 7 we see him come back. He helps out Ichiban and his crew, which obviously leads to Majima and Dojima realizing that he's alive. It's implied that Watase knew he was still alive the whole time, but it's never really confirmed. And basically, his final moments in Yakuza 7, he kind of has a final battle with Ichiban to make him prove his worth. Win the battle with Ichiban. Of course, Kiryu, in the post-credit or post-battle, looks like he hasn't even broken a sweat. It's really funny, but he kind of walks off in the sunset in that game. So a lot of people figured this is the last time we're going to see Kiryu, at least in a mainline series game. And it was a nice way to end his character arc. And then, bam, we get Yakuza 8. Kiryu's going to be one of the main characters. So I thought that was interesting, but that all catching up now. This game, like a Dragon Gaiden, of course, for those who may or may not be familiar with Japanese terminology, Gaiden is more or less like a Japanese way of saying short story or side story. So this game is basically just that. It's a side story building up what Kiryu's been doing between him disappearing at the end of 6, the stuff he did around 7, and then how he gets to where he's at 8. It's apparently not a very big game. They're saying it's about half the size of a regular mainline series game, because again, it isn't supposed to be a main game. It's also coming out next year, probably. The last game we're going to look at is coming out in February, so I'm going to guess this is probably coming out probably in the fall, would be my guess. Something to hold people over until Yakuza 8 comes out. But other than this trailer, there's been no gameplay or anything. I assume it's going to be, well, not really assume, I'm pretty sure the director's confirmed it's going to be like traditional Kiryu style, where you just beat the shit out of people. Is it only on it is not on next-gen systems. Well, it is on next-gen systems, but it is going to be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC as well. So all the games that I'm going over will be on all systems. So thankfully, it's not exclusive to PS5 and Xbox Series. So that is cool because a lot of more people get the chance to play it. But yeah, this is going to be really cool. A chance to play as Kiryu in a traditional game again, but I have no idea what to expect. So between this and Yakuza 8, and Annie, since you're here, did you happen to see what Kiryu looks like in Yakuza 8? Because if not, I'll pull that picture back up. Because, wow. And thank you, Wake, for streaming. Yeah, too bad the games you want will be on PS4. Yeah. Anything you want to play, we're just going to make exclusive to the next gen. So, okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the Yakuza 8 teaser because it's pretty short, but you get to see Kiryu in it. So I'll show you this again here because this is pretty great.
久しぶりだな、一。
はじめまして、春日一番さん。
こいつ見た
きっとお会いしないうちに大所帯になったんですね。
危険だけどやるしかないわね。
私は兄と同じ
終わったなこれ。お変わりないよ。
殺されるぞ。
日が来るとはね。
任務は中止だと伝えろ。
人生は一度きりだ。悔いのねえようにしろよ。やるしかなさそうだな。
よっしゃ行こうぜ、キリさん。
So yeah, that's Yakuza 8 Kiryu, which people are now calling calling him Devil May Kiryu because he pretty much looks like a DMC character now, and people love the fact that he's doing the whole gray fox hair. It's so much. The weird thing is, you would think. You would think that someone going gray hair, they'd look older or more tired, but it does actually look better with Kiryu because of that stupid ass anime hair he's had for like 7 games. Yeah, it is very hipster, but it is way better in a way. It is weird seeing him without his traditional hair, but yeah, the whole gray hair thing is just weird. So. Pretty cool that they're changing it up. And as I had mentioned, he's going to be, by the time this comes out in 2024. So I'm going to guess they try to keep it as close to modern day as possible. Probably, oh yeah, he doesn't ever change his facial expressions. That's true. So 2024, usually they try to keep it as modern day as possible. I would guess it will probably take place like in 2022 or 2023. And if that's the case, then Kiryu would be in his late 50s by then. So he still looks good for a man his age. But yeah, so that's kind of been the shocker that people have been dealing with for the last couple of days, is seeing Kiryu with the silver fox hair. So go ahead and skip ahead there. So yeah, that's Yakuza 8 and Yakuza... what they call it, I already forgot the name of it. The Man Who Forgot His Name. So that's the bridge game between 6 and 8 for Kiryu. The last one we have here is Ishin, which I'll go a little more in depth shortly. This is the trailer first.
不思議な話もあったもんやな。時代を動かすはずの男が時代遅れの男に切られ死ぬ。しかもこの世に存在しないはずのもう一人の自分に切られることになるんやからな。なあ、坂本龍馬さんよ。
So that's Ishin. Got a little bit more info or gameplay, I guess. I'll show in a second. But to kind of give backstory on that, so like a Dragon, well, originally it was Yakuza Ishin. It came out in Japan back in, I believe, 2013. So 10 years before this one's being released, which is February of next year. And originally, it was a Japan only release, never got ported to the US or anywhere outside of Japan, really. Um, and long story short, it's basically takes the characters from the Yakuza series, puts them into a sort of Japanese. I don't really know if it's folklore. I guess you could call it folklore, but I think some of it is based on actual Japanese history. Somewhat. I don't know how much of it's real, how much is. I should probably do better Japanese history research. But the game itself, the original one, was a PS3 game, only in Japan. And again, you took all the characters from the Yakuza series and put them in these different roles. You play as Kiryu, but his character is Ryoto. And you're basically a samurai, sort of Ghost of Tsushima-like, years before Ghost of Tsushima came out. So it does getting it to see the hairpin. It's pretty cool. This other trailer's got some stuff that wasn't in the first one that I'll show before I go over that. But probably the coolest thing about this, like a Dragon Ishin, is they are basically giving this what they call the Kiwami treatment. So it's not just a remaster; they are remaking one, like they did with Yakuza and Yakuza 2. The biggest additions, which you'll see in this trailer, are that they've updated some of the characters in the game. When the original game came out in 2013, Yakuza 0, 6, and 7 weren't out yet. I think 5 may have just come out. I think that's around the time that came out. But there were a lot of characters in 0, 6, and 7 that people loved, and they weren't in Ishin because they came out after that. So they've now added those characters into this game, including 3 of my personal favorites, even though they're all dicks, which is the crew of captains from Yakuza 0, which last I checked Annie was still on. Which of course is Awano, Kuze. I was going to save him for the end, but I can't remember the other guys. It's like Michi or whatever. I don't know. And he's like probably the worst of the 3. I don't know why I can't remember his name. But the fact that those 3 guys are going to be in it, they were at the RTG conference, and it's so hilarious to me that they look identical to their characters. And just seeing them on stage, and the guy that plays Awano is pretty much the same in real life as his character, which is even better. But let me play at least part of this other trailer, and this will show a little bit more of what I'm talking about, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth here. This was actually the trailer that was at the State of Play, I believe, on Tuesday.
始まったか。ええ。誰ぜよ。おまんは。 不思議な話もあったもんやな。時代を動かすはずの男が時代遅れの男に切られ死ぬ。しかもこの世に存在しないはずのもう一人の自分に切られることになるんやからな。なあ、坂本龍馬さんよ。
Tale of Sakamoto Ryoma, taking on a false day, enjoying the fiercest swordsman in the land, and learning the course of an entire nation, all spurred by revenge.
人が切り通って切り通ってしゃあない。それが剣士の本音なんちゃうか。
その局長は知識、教養
So we'll run through all the
知識に長け
characters.
た人間が務めるべき
Who's A?
なんなら踊れも味わってみるげ。
体を脱するを許さず、それが新選組の鉄の掟だ。ここにいる皆も肝に銘じておくことだ。
疑わしきは粛清する。これが新選組っちゅう組織や。もうこれ以上おやっさんを殺した犯人を追う必要はない。今の俺の力ならお前が土佐に戻れるようにもできる。
徳川開幕以来300年、徳川の世はそこまで衰えたか。
とっておきの武器を連れてきた。坂本龍馬だ。
いよいよ時間がなくなってきたことも承知しといてもらいてえと思ってよ。
時間。
この日本って国が自滅するまでの時間だよ。どういうこっちゃ。
新選組の隊長を4人も始末できるんだからな。
いい声で泣くな。今日の街、いや時代そのものが狂ってるんですよ。
お前がもう一人の坂本龍馬なんか。誰なんだお前は。日本の兄弟たちよ、また会いたじゃ。
So yeah, that is the extended trailer, which debuted at State of Play on Tuesday. It's going to be an interesting change of pace because in the West we've never had this game, and the gameplay is a lot different from pretty much every other Yakuza game we've had. It's going to be a lot more sword and even gun-based versus hand-to-hand combat, although there will be some hand-to-hand combat. Obviously, the setting's different too. It takes place like in the 1860s, I think. So, lots of different stuff. There is still going to be karaoke, which I think is hilarious for a game in the 1800s. But I know the original Ishin actually had one of Majima's better songs, which I would assume they would remake and put this in here. And there is, more importantly, one of the trailers. I don't remember where I saw this, but there was a clip of what obviously looked like Kiryu singing Bakumitai. So I really want to see 1860s Kiryu singing Bakumitai just to see what he's even singing about. Because Lord knows, maybe it's a picture of like an old sword he lost or something. but very excited to try this. Like I said, it's a game that we've been waiting out here to get for 10 years, and we're getting a Kiwami version, more or less. And the cool thing is it's on pretty much every system, so it's not something that anybody will get left behind on. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to play it on. I'm making it for PS5 because even though I've more recently been playing the game on Xbox, most of my first playthroughs of any Yakuza games have been on PlayStation. So probably a little easier to hang out. But let me actually see here if I can find this other trailer. Because I don't know where I saw it. Maybe not. Yes, definitely get it for PlayStation. There we go. Save that to my stream playlist. Let's adjust this real quick. They have not said anything about limited editions. I would assume there'll probably be special editions for all three, but for now, they mainly just are announcing the dates. Which, like I said, February for Ishin is the only official date. I would guess the Forgotten Name game will probably come out in fall. And then 8. They said 2024, which to me probably means October, November, because that's usually when the mainline games come out. I would really hope it comes out before then, but they are trying to release all the games internationally around the same time now, which before they released the Japanese version and then the international version would come out a year later. So I think it's because of the fact that they're localizing it at the same time that they're making it now. That's what's causing it to take a little longer. So I guess we'll see. I'm pretty sure Ishin probably won't have localization other than some subs, because I know the original, like I said, was only Japanese, and you don't really need a dub for this game, especially when it's based on Japanese history. Man with No Name, I could see maybe getting a dub, but I don't think that will either, since it's so Kiryu-centric, and they really don't like his English voice actor, even though they have gone and gotten him for the sub dub. I would probably say with about 99% certainty that 8 will have a dub. Because the voice cast for 7 was actually pretty good in the English version, so having that as an option would probably be pretty cool. Alright, so I didn't find what I was looking for, but I did find this, which is the karaoke from the original version of Ishin, and Majima's song, which I don't know if this is just the video or... Oh no, this looks like it's a karaoke, so... We'll play this here, and I'll just kind of give you a taste of what the Ishin karaoke looked like and may look like. Hopefully.
今日の街君を攻めねあああ
Majima's like me, he only has like 3 dance moves.
大砲や鉄砲には弱いけどな。まあ確かにな。しかし剣でどでかい花火ぶち上げたるね。ああ、踊れつらなく男をそらいや。愛をつらなく女子も侍やで。蹴ってみせますその野望。 見せるであのクソがあいら侍今日も誰だたけたはたけたはた侍女ええやねんか今日くらいブリコやでうわ器ちっちゃお砂糖が知れるでむしゃも長倉もはじめちゃんも
That's the other thing too. These Ishin songs were extended. There weren't the short versions like in the regular games. Right?
ただし、大砲や鉄砲とかそういうのはあかんね。そういうのはあかん。ねえ、ちゃんとわしに勝たせろや。勝ったなんて食うだけ。それこそ侍や。勝ったなんてもう無理。ええか？刀で守れ。それこそが侍や。蹴ってみせろってそんなナンバー。 バカ野郎バカ野郎おいらが侍明日も誰だったきったはたきったはた侍女今日37度だ今度の時ですが起きた掃除より一言この腐った世の中に町の刀で風穴を開ける維新を起こして強い日本をありまたありまた蹴ってみせますその野望蹴ってみせるであんにゃらぶっくりしてるで蹴ってみせるでお前その無謀パンチ切っとるわみんなまとめて蹴り刻んだらおいらは侍今日も誰だたけたはたけたはた侍女
So yeah. That song's even funnier when you're reading the English translation on the bottom because he's basically going back and forth between singing about being a samurai and about how everyone around him's a fucking dumbass and he's gonna slash him up. So, yeah. That song's actually on the Majima album that got released, which I think is on iTunes. Because they have one for Majima, they have one for Kiryu, and I think Saejima might even have one. He doesn't really do a whole lot of karaoke until the 5th game. Even that is just the one song, which is back in the time. So, yeah, it's that's one of the better songs that's never been in any of the US releases. So hopefully they release that on here. But that is all of the Yakuza news. And I am glad you were able to join for this part at least, Andy, because that's actually one of the things I was wanting to show you was some of the stuff. So again, we got February 4 Ishin, My guess would be probably fall, maybe October-ish for Forgotten the Name, and then 2024 for 8, which I said I'll probably guess would be November. I want it to be earlier than that, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. Hopefully it's not a situation like Zelda where they announce a game and then they keep pushing it back over and over. And then everyone thinks they're going to release more information and give you like a 20-second teaser. So, let's see, what else can we... I think that's pretty much the main stuff there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. So waiting for the second part of Final Fantasy VII. Oh yeah, that'll probably come in like another 10 years, 15. So that's about how long it took for the first remake to come out. They don't get off their hands with some of the stuff. What else? What was it? Kingdom Hearts 3 took forever. We all know what happened with Duke Nukem Forever. Nobody talks about that because the disaster that ended up being. Yeah, I am just glad that RGG is making games in between the main series games because technically by the time 8 comes out, it'll be the longest gap between two main series games. The 7 was, well, technically 7 came out in 2020, so it's only 4 years, which isn't a terrible turnaround time. But most of the mainline series games, it's usually like 1 to 2 years. So it's a little longer than usual. But 8 is going to be, they've said, the biggest game in the series, so that makes sense. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. I actually should put the thing on here, and I forgot to do it. We're going to probably be recording a podcast this weekend, hoping, depending on what our schedules were looking like. But yeah, try 6 years for all was supposed to be a DLC. Yeah, that's basically Breath of the Wild 2, aka what do they call it now? The No Tears or something. Something about tears. I already forgot the name. It's this. Anyway, we are going to try to do podcasts this weekend. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you have any questions or comments or anything regarding video games specifically, feel free to shoot them over to us, and we will probably discuss it. I don't know what all we'll be discussing. I know I want to talk a little bit about these, but I figured I'd do it on stream first so that I didn't take a majority of the podcast talking about it. I know Ian will probably want to talk about, obviously, Zelda and the new Scarlet and Violet trailer, which just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago now. A little bit more information. I guess that's probably the next game that we have between the two of us that's coming out. Would be Scarlet and Violet in November. We've got Ishin in February. He's got Zelda in May, and then yeah. Oh, I guess God of War comes out in November too. I think maybe it's October. When does God of War come out? Is that? I don't know if you saw that trailer. But that looks really. Let's see if I can pull it up here. It's the first actual kind of story trailer that we've got since the original reveal. And they did confirm that will be on both PS4 and PS5. So that's another one that you should be able to play because it is on both systems. When originally they said it was only going to be PS5. So that's exciting. Let me pull this up here. This looks really awesome. I was a big fan of the first one. The
Everyone
new
keeps
ones.
secrets. Sometimes it's the only way to protect the ones we love.
I know you. God Killer. What is it you want from me? Is it a god of war you came to find?
You don't really want war, do you, Kratos? All that blood on your hands? On your son's hands?
What is it you will not tell me?
I can't talk about it, but I just need you to trust me.
Boy!
We follow your every whim.
But you don't believe in any of it.
And still I follow. Because all that matters is that you are safe.
But that's not all that matters. Who's keeping you safe?
I do not need you to protect me.
Wait.
You sure about that?
Pretender god! For the old father!
Death can have me when it earns me.
What do you even know of godhood? In your lifetimes, has anyone ever worshipped you? Ever prayed to you? Can you even imagine that kind of love? No! You don't care about anything beyond yourself. Beyond the monster who kills without cause.
Fate only binds you if you let it. Do what is necessary. Not because it is written. We will make our own destiny.
But yeah, November 9th, release for God of War. That looks pretty awesome. That'll probably be the next big game I play. I know, yeah, it'll probably be the next big game I play. I don't really know what else to say. The first game was really good, I thought, which I keep calling it the first game. It's the first game in this new version. I really enjoyed, which I never really played much of the original, so I can't really make a fair comparison to the original series. I know a lot of people love the original games, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That's all I can say. Since we're discussing it, I have pulled up the Zelda trailer as well. I guess for what it's worth. So we'll take a quick look at that as well. So that Ian can be a little more depressed that they still haven't said anything other than it's coming out in May. Where is it? Where's this thing? There we go. May 12th, 2023. So yeah, that's literally all they showed. They had was a 40-minute direct on Tuesday, and that 1 minute of, I guess technically a minute and a half of Zelda content was all the only Zelda content, which to me is kind of comical because people thought that was going to be at the very least like an announcement of a remake of Twilight. Zelda's my favorite. He's my favorite character. People thought there might be a remake of Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, but that did not occur. And yeah, there wasn't a whole lot from the direct. I will go into the next thing because I want to rant on it for a minute. But I would assume with Zelda being such a big series that there will probably be more information, maybe even get its own direct. Knowing Nintendo probably in like April. Or they'll release it on May 11th, and then at the end, Shigeru Miyamoto will come out and be like, this game is coming out in May 12th of 2024. Somebody play the Nintendo Switch snap noise when he flips off the camera. So we'll see how that goes, but it's already been pushed back like 2 or 3 times, so the fact that they have a hard date now makes me believe that that's probably going to happen. Still haven't beaten Breath of the Wild. I probably need to go do that at some point, but I mentioned to somebody else the other day that as much as I enjoy playing some of the Zelda games, that's a series I have to be like in a certain mood for, because it's one of those games that if you're not willing to commit at least a couple hours to it, you feel like you're not really accomplishing anything. And yeah, it's not that I don't like the games, they're fun. It's just I got to be in the right mood to play them. So plus I always grew up more of a Mario guy. Mario was probably a much easier game. I mean, you haven't beaten it on Switch, but I'm pretty sure you beat the Wii U version. If I remember right. Yeah, you could probably stream that. You got plenty of time. You go get all those damn Korok seeds. That'll be your 24-hour stream. It's just Ian hunting Korok seeds. It's just check in at hour 17. Ian, how many Korok seeds do you have? 326. That's good. Just another 573 to go. Oh, it's 900. Okay, my bad. Sorry, not all of us want that golden turret that you want to collect. Alright, so one more trailer from the Nintendo Direct I'm going to go show here, because I got to work on this. I guess that's the Game Pass reveal version. There was also the other one from the Switch. So it's... Alright, first let me break down why this is so goddamn complicated. So, obviously, everyone knows Goldeneye, both the movie and the game, came out back in the late 90s. It was easily one of the greatest games on the Nintendo 64. The main game was fun, but it got a lot of hype because it was the real first good console couch co-op game, multiplayer, I guess. Obviously, you had other games that had it, but most of them were PC-based. So people loved it. Crazy enough, the GoldenEye multiplayer was created with like 6 weeks of development left, and originally it was just going to be scrapped. It was just something they thought about adding last minute. So kind of insane to think about that one of the most beloved features in any game almost didn't even exist. But that being said, that came out late 90s. I want to say it was 97, I believe. Fast forward into the mid to late 2000s, around 2009, 2010, we start to have rumblings of a GoldenEye remake, um, and everyone's getting excited. But there's a lot of licensing issues, and eventually what is settled on is, well, first we got GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which was a horrible game, which basically was an entirely original story that EA created that was, I guess, concurrent to GoldenEye, but in a different universe, where basically you play an agent that accidentally kills James Bond. You get kicked out of MI6, so you team up with a couple of old school Bond villains to do evil dastardly stuff. In theory, kind of a cool idea, but gameplay was not very fun. And they gave you a literal golden eye was the gimmick that allowed you to like see through certain things and all that. Terrible game. I'm not gonna say it was terrible. It had its moments, but not a very good game. So people kind of gave up at that point. And then we got the rumblings of another remake, and everyone's like, okay, whatever. They're like, no, this is gonna be a real remake. So then we get I believe it was for Wii, and then later it was ported to the 360 and PlayStation 3, GoldenEye, which was a remake of this, but they replaced Pierce Brosnan's character with Daniel Craig and sort of rewrote some of the stuff so that it wasn't like a direct remake. So, again, that one was a little bit better. They did actually get Daniel Craig to do the voice acting, so, I mean, that's a positive. They got the actual actor, but the game itself was not anything to write home about. The Wii version was not very good. The ports were a little bit better, but again, it was like if you're rating a game on a 10 scale, it was maybe in the 7s. So, just kind of there. Then around 2011, once again, we got rumblings that, all right, we're serious. We're taking the original Nintendo 64 game that everyone loved. We're remastering it. We're going to re-release it. Sounds awesome. Here's the problem. In 2003, I think it was, early 2000s, Rare, who created, obviously, GoldenEye and several beloved Nintendo classics, the original Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, a lot of games. Microsoft bought them. They became a Microsoft studio, and they still are to this day a Microsoft studio. And then the James Bond license, which was originally held by Rare, expired. It was picked up by, I know EA had it. I think another company had it before EA, though. Maybe it was after. But EA had it, another company had it, and it expired about a year or two ago, and it was picked up by, is it Eon? It's the company that makes the Hitman games, has it now. And they are actually working on a new James Bond game that should be coming out in the next couple of years. Which, on a Hitman engine, has a chance to be a good game. I guess we'll see. But, so, you have Microsoft owns Rare. You have the James Bond license, at the time, was with EA. You have GoldenEye, which was a Nintendo exclusive. And then you have that fourth license of the James Bond license itself, in general, still being with, I believe, MGM at the time. So you have 4 different camps that all have to come together to agree on making a game. 2 of those camps at the time hate each other because it's Microsoft and Nintendo. And at that point, none of the big 3 were playing well with each other. You had Microsoft and Sony at each other's throats. You had Nintendo trying to survive because the Wii was not, well, I guess, no, the Wii was out by then, so they were kind of back in the market. After the GameCube, it was a little dicey. But once, you got all these companies fighting, and the actual remaster was being made. Like, there is actual footage that you can find online of the remaster, and it was about 70% completed, and finally, it just quietly got canceled Nobody knows really what happened there, and then just an agreement couldn't be reached. And then about 2 or 3 years ago, Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony all kind of reached out and tried to come up with some sort of working agreement, because it's like, hey, we can still hate each other, but we should try to work together with some of our games because we want to make a better experience for everybody. Sony kind of backed down and kind of wanted to keep doing their own thing. Nintendo has never really liked playing with anybody. And if you need proof, just go back to their war with Sega back in the 90s. But they also knew that they're no longer the market share leader. They're not even really in second place. They've kind of fallen behind both Sony and Microsoft. So they elected to have a working agreement with Microsoft that it's not really like a friendly agreement. It's more like a, hey, if you let us do some of this stuff, we'll let you do some of this stuff. So it's not like something where it's like, hey, check out the new Mario game that's coming out on Xbox next year. That's never going to happen. Unless Nintendo just stops making systems, which I don't see happening anytime soon. And Microsoft, their first big action was saying, hey, Nintendo, we're going to give you guys access to Game Pass, so people can play games through the Switch, through the cloud, through stuff like that, which was a big win for both companies, because obviously Microsoft gets more Game Pass subscribers, and Nintendo has more people playing Switch with a wider selection of library, because you're paying a monthly fee versus paying the full price. So, now that all that's out of the way, the whole big backstory, apparently because of all this, and because Microsoft and Nintendo were the two big holdouts, they came together on Goldeneye, and they decided that if we can work this out with whoever owns the license now, I think it's, because MGM sold it, so I believe it is now owned by, it's one of the streaming services. I think it's either HBO or Warner. I don't remember, but they agreed to do it. I doubt it's Warner, since they're, well, unless Warner got paid some decent money, they may have been desperate for it, but the owner of the license agreed. Microsoft and Nintendo agreed. Eon makes the Hitman that's making the new Bond games. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, whatever, we're going to release a new game separate anyway. Plus, we were inspired by GoldenEye, so do it. So everybody comes together. We're all excited. First announcement we get of it was at the Nintendo Direct on Tuesday, and the trailer was a little bit different. First off, because it's Nintendo, the trailer cut off. Let me cut back here. The trailer cut off right about here, before the gunshot, because again, Nintendo, and you know, they try to keep their directs family friendly. But it also, when it came to the splash screen, instead of this coming to Game Pass here, it actually said GoldenEye coming to whatever it is, the N64 thing, and then at the bottom it added online multiplayer confirmed or something. I forget the exact word, but people lost their shit, because not only were we getting this GoldenEye remake that we've been begging for 10 years, probably longer for some people, but we're getting online multiplayer, and that means I can kill my friend 5,000 miles away without having to be on the same couch with him. It's great. Here's the problem. I don't know if this is an issue with the agreement they came with. I don't know if this is just something with the way that the remasters are being done, what the case is. But it sounds like one party got one thing and one party got another. And that was, instead of combining them, they just took one or the other. So the Xbox version is getting full remaster treatment. So it's going to be in 4K, up res. I believe they said it should run about 60 frames per second. It should look really good. And it's going to play really well. Controls are going to be updated. So it won't be as weird to play as it is. Like, if you go back and play the original GoldenEye now, it is so hard. if you have played modern day FPS games, because you forget that you have to hold down a trigger and then aim with the stick, and then use another trigger to shoot, and then move with the D-pad. It's so weird. But all that's going to be updated. But there's no online play for the Xbox version. None. And when I first heard that, I was like, that can't be right. That makes no sense. And it has since been confirmed by multiple sources. There is no online play for the Xbox version. Meanwhile, the Switch version has the online play, which people hate Nintendo's online, so that makes perfect sense. And it's also not getting the similar remaster that Xbox is getting. Essentially, the Nintendo version is going to be the N64 version, slightly rezzed up, maybe? I don't know. They didn't really confirm. I would assume it'll be like when you play like Mario 64 or one of the Zelda games on the emulator, where it's really not that much different. So I'm wondering, I don't even know what to expect, because my excitement came from knowing I could play online multiplayer. If my choice comes down to having online multiplayer but the shitty original graphics versus playing the newer graphics but not having online multiplayer, that sucks as a choice, first off. Second off, I'm probably going to take the graphics, because honestly, I don't know enough people that I would really want to play that with online. If it's not great graphics. I know plenty of people that will probably play it on the Switch. I know plenty of people that I've played it with in real life on the N64 version that would play it on the Switch. But it's so many questions. I really hope we get more answers before this drops. We didn't get a date, so I don't know if it's coming out later this year, if it's going to be early next year. My gut tells me it's going to be 2023, just because I feel like if it was coming out like in the fall, paintball mode. I feel like if it was coming out in the fall, they would have hit that harder. So my gut is saying 2023. They did announce other games for the N64 emulator, including a few for 2022, so that's kind of why, another reason I think it would be 2023 is because I believe, I want to say Ocarina was on the list for 2022. I can't remember exactly what they said. I need to see if I can pull that up, actually, because here we go. All right. Oh yeah, the Mario Party games. Yeah, Ocarina is already on there. Okay, that's what I thought. Mario Party 1 through 3, which 1 and 2 are coming out this year, and 3 is coming out next year. Which Mario Party 2 to me is still the best Mario Party game. So don't. I will fight you on that, because it is amazing. I will probably play the shit out of that. If I can get people to play me, nobody wants to play me because I'm the GOAT at Mario Party. Annie's sister knows that. She is scared to play me. So, Annie, if you're still watching, make sure to clip that and send that to her so she knows exactly what I feel. We also have Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, which I know Ian... I don't know. Ian, did you ever play the Pokemon Stadium games? Because I know you didn't have an N64, but I know you've played some games since then. I know, for me personally... Apex Predator. I know for me personally, I did play the first Pokemon Stadium game when it came out. I rented it from Blockbuster. You have played one, okay. I rented it from Blockbuster back in the day when we could go to Blockbuster and get our games. That was a lot of fun. And I was not into Pokemon at the time. I didn't understand Pokemon at the time. But I also knew I got Nintendo Power Magazine, and there was constantly a lot of stuff about how this is a great game, it's all this fun stuff you can do, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm not really into Pokemon, but it's the only good game that they've got right now, and it looks fun, so I'll try it out. I tried it, and I didn't play it very much because, obviously, as someone who had no Pokemon background, I felt like Hop and did not understand type advantages, so it involved a lot of me dying. But I will say I tried it again. It's not super recent, but probably within the last 4 or 5 years. I played it on an emulator. And even then, even after playing a lot of the DS games, playing, I don't know if I would have played Sword and Shield yet, because I think it might have been before that. But playing the DS games, playing Pokemon Go, I'm pretty sure it'd been out by then. Pretty much all this other stuff, I still struggled with that game. I don't know why. I think I was actually getting pretty angry with it, because, like, I would have type advantages, and then the motherfucker I was fighting would swap in something that would kick the shit out of me, or it would, like, paralyze me or something where my Pokemon would move. And so I'm like, well, great, now I'm just screwed. So, yeah, it was very hard. And, yeah, it's, and that's me personally. Ian says it too, so I don't feel as bad, since he knows way more about Pokemon than I do. But I am curious to try to. I never actually played the second one. I don't know if it was any different from the first. I don't know if that came out after Gen 2 did. I would assume that was probably just pretty much a second version of the first game. But anyway, those both are coming out. Goldeneye, the Mario Party games. Pilot Wing 64, which I don't think I ever played Pilot Wing 64. It was a launch title for the system. I had the Super Nintendo Pilot Wings, and I did play that some when I was a kid. I didn't love that game, not because of it being like super fun or anything. I loved it because of the fact that like, it's one of the earliest memories of video games with my mom that I have. But my mom was never much of a gamer. And her and I would actually play that together. And it brings back really fun memories because I sucked at it and she sucked at it. But what was great about it was when you suck at that game, the game doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't tell you this is what you should do. It basically, when you screw something up, it plays like some sad music. And some little guy in a box yells at you in a text, like, how could you screw this up? Or, why are you so bad at this, or whatever. And I just remember laughing at how angry those guys would get. So, yeah, that's my Pilot Wing story. Again, didn't really play 64, so I don't know much about it. I know it's basically the 64 version of the Super NES game. So there's that. 1080 Snowboarding. I think a lot of people have at least heard of that game. I do remember playing that a little bit. At the time, it was pretty fun. It was sort of like a predecessor to the Tony Hawk games. So it was still kind of like an early stage of that kind of gameplay. But it was fun for what it was. It was one of the many like arcade ports that you have. Which one do you have? Pilot Wings or 1080? But yeah, 1080 was like an arcade port based in Southbound. And then Excite Bike 64. That was decent. I can't say that it was like a 1080. I can't say it was great. The original Excite Bike is one of the more fun NES games, so it's kind of hard to top that. But yeah, that's the list. So, here we go. I just want to make sure I got these right. Yeah, so for 2022, we've got Pilot Wings, Mario Party 1 and 2, and then everything else is 2023. So, a lot of stuff for Switch Online, which the N64 library is kind of weak in comparison to the NES, Super NES, especially when they've upcharged for that. So it is nice that they're finally starting to take it a little more serious and add more games. I know at the time people were excited about having like Mario 64 on there, but then they released the Mario 64, the Sunshine and Galaxy trilogy thing, so kind of made it pointless to play on the backwards compatibility. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else trailer-wise. I was going to see if maybe there's another one I could pull up here. Let's see. Because I know Tokyo Game Show is going on right now, but I don't think there's been a whole lot that I haven't already discussed. Looks like, looking through my video feed, looks like a lot of Call of Duty stuff. Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Game Pass, okay. Forza 5 10th anniversary, that should be pretty good. And then, of course, there's non-video game videos in here. God of War, we went over that one. Nation. Let me add that one to my list. That might be something we'll talk about shortly. Alright, let me pull this other one up here. There. All right. So, last one I'll bring up here, and talk. Actually ended up going a lot longer than I thought. So, I've had a lot of you guys join. I really appreciate it. This is nice and relaxing to be able to talk about games with you guys and not kind of be having to focus on playing a game right now. So the last one I'm going to bring up is Return to Monkey Island, which, as I mentioned, I think I brought up at the beginning of the stream. It's coming out Monday, which is Talk Like a Pirate Day, which it's a pirate-based game, so it makes sense. This is the trailer they released for it this week, which I believe is, it's not really like a real trailer, but it's like a, it kind of gives a backstory on the first couple games prior to this one that kind of set things up. Because as I mentioned earlier, there's been 5 Monkey Island games. The first 2 were by Ron Gilbert, and then the other 3 were by not Ron Gilbert after he was run off by LucasArts. This one is by Ron Gilbert. So essentially, he's taken the first 2 games and he's making this one as like the third of a trilogy, making the other 3, 4, and 5 being non-canon. There'll probably be some Easter eggs and stuff from those games, but this supposedly takes place after the second game. So I'm just going to play this here and then give some quick thoughts and go from there. And it is a much different art style
filled with my adventures.
than what we had in the
Ever
past.
since I was a kid, I wanted to be a mighty pirate. That's me, Guybrush Threepwood. In the old days, you became a pirate by completing 3 trials to prove your worth. This is when I met Elaine, the love of my life. She was governor at the time. The test of thievery involved breaking into the governor's mansion. The security was heavy. Things took an unexpected turn while I was working on the 3 trials. My first ship was the Sea Monkey. I bought it at Stan's used ships with a letter of credit that I, sort of falsified. Elaine was kidnapped and taken to Monkey Island by the nefarious ghost pirate LeChuck. I scraped together a crew. Carla, Otis, and Meathook joined me on my voyage to Monkey Island to save Elaine. Monkey Island was a steaming volcanic mystery, covered with jungle and not found on any map. On the island was a gigantic monkey head statue with hidden catacombs underneath. The monkey head opened with a special key that you stuck in its ear. I met an old castaway there, Herman Toothrot. He and the locals wrote a lot of indignant letters to each other. We wound up back on Melee Island for the stunning conclusion to my first big adventure. I made it to the church just in time to stop the wedding. Or so I thought. It turned out Elaine already had everything under control. How does she do that? It was the beginning of something magical. These are from the time I went to find the treasure of Big Whoop. Elaine always seems to know when I need her.
The 19th. So I didn't really give a ton of backstory on it, but yeah, so this is more of a point-and-click adventure game, more comedy-based than anything, which is kind of why I like it. But yeah, first game, Guybrush tries to become a pirate and beats Elaine and all this other stuff. Second game, as you mentioned, was for the treasure and all that other stuff. I don't know what this one's going to be. I assume, trying to say it's going to be the last one, so maybe he'll finally figure out the secret to Monkey Island. But it's hard to explain without playing through the games, which maybe I'll do on stream at some point. I did think about doing it tonight, but I'll probably put it off. But yeah, I am looking forward to which is a weird release date, but probably won't play it on Monday. I'm probably going to download it on Monday. I do already have it ready to go. It's only going to be on PC and Switch. I got the PC version. I should have gotten the Switch version, honestly. Point and click's a little easier on PC. So, yeah, I think that's going to probably about do it. Unless you guys have anything else that you want to look at or discuss. That was the main stuff I wanted to go over. This went a lot longer than I expected, which I'm very happy with. But, yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to over the next 2 years, really. Fortunately for Ian, none of it on a system that he owns, except for Zelda, which knowing Nintendo, they'll announce the day before that it's only going to be on the Switch Pro, which you must buy, and then Ian's going to be like, but I don't have a Switch Pro. They'll be like about as easy to find as PS5. So, yeah, so I will probably try to stream something maybe this weekend. If not, maybe next Friday. We'll see how things go. Oh, I can't next Friday. Actually, next weekend I got stuff going on. So maybe I'll try to stream something tomorrow or Sunday. I don't know what it will be. I do need to go back to Miles Morales at some point, because I did the exact same thing we did last time we streamed it, where I got to the one point and I haven't progressed. And I really want to finish that game. And then it'll just be occasional streams, probably until November. If Ian decides to stream, it sounds like he might try to do some Breath of the Wild. But until then, we've got Scarlet Violet coming out in November. I think on Annie's birthday is when it comes out. Is it the 18th? So that'll be Ian's probably go-to stream game for about 2 or 3 months. I say 2 or 3 months, it'll be like 6 or 7 months. Well, it's 6 months till Zelda, so at least that long. And then I'm sure I'll stream it each day when it comes out. I'll probably play that for the first time on stream because it would be cool to kind of get my actual reactions, even though I don't know if I'm going to understand the story since it's not related to the actual Yakuza series. It's more prequel. Yeah, that's really all I can think of. So, if you guys have anything you want to add or let us know about, I am going to try to get Ian to record our game podcast this weekend. We'll see how that goes. But obviously, I talked a lot about games tonight, so I don't know what all I'll cover on that. But you can certainly send in questions. Make sure to let us know how much you think Piplup sucks so I can continually ask Ian that question. Because apparently that was a common question for our first episode. If Annie or Brian would want to join us for a podcast, especially on games, certainly join us because we do want to do episodes where it's not just the two of us talking or me asking a question and then me talking for however long about said question. So, yeah, so that's the plan for the weekend. Obviously, I have football going on all weekend, so that's going to be what I'm doing when I'm not recording shit. Probably for the next 3 months, really. When I'm not recording shit, I'm going to be watching football on the weekends. Yeah, we'll see where things go. But yeah, let me know if there's any games you guys want to see. Honestly, I am kind of in a rut with games because there are some stuff that I would stream, but I don't. It's nothing like standing out to me. So if there's something that you guys really want to see, let me know. Try to put together a stream for it because if I have something that people want to watch, it'll make it a lot easier to motivate myself than just picking a game at random. But yeah, again, sorry for droning on. Thank you again for joining this evening. Check us out on all the socials. I should have put that on the screen. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, which is mostly me, and all the other places. ColbyandIan.com for any merch, which I do need to update. And I think that's everything. So check us out. Check the podcast, the Transfercast, found on any podcast platform. And we should have a new episode up, hopefully sometime in the next couple of days. But until then, thank you so much for those of you who did join tonight. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to all these games. Looking forward to hear you guys' thoughts. And I will catch you all on the next stream. We'll say tomorrow. I'm not going to confirm it, but probably maybe sometime tomorrow. I can just put football on this TV and play on it. So, thanks so much for joining, guys, and have a good night. Wait, I screwed up my own line. Thank you guys so much for joining, and have a good whatever.